Hi everyone, welcome to the first Girls Talk Together live stream. Thank you so much for all tuning in from your sofas, from your houses all over the world. I just want to take a moment to big up the fact that this is live streaming all over the world, and it is the first Girls Talk live stream that we have ever done. So thank you very much, Nike, and thank you to all of you, because this would not be possible. So to start it off, I want to introduce myself. My name is Adwoa Burr, and I am a model, activist, and the founder of Girls Talk, a platform where young women can share their experiences in a safe, judgment-free space. And this is what this is, even though it's virtual. We can come together to talk about the issues and fears we face growing up. Girls Talk is a growing international community full of beautiful, diverse people who believe that by coming together, we become stronger individually and collectively. We believe that we can use strength to inspire each other and have a positive impact on the world. So, without further ado, today we're hosting a panel talk that deals with how we can cope with change and adaptation in this very difficult time. This is something that is affecting us all, so this is what we will be talking about. And joining me is my co-host, Dr. Kira Dockery, a licensed clinical psychologist and chief clinical advisor for Girls Talk. Girls Talk. Hi, Kira.
So good to see you.
It's so nice to see you.
I am sorry. I can't believe. I wish we were together, but isn't this amazing that we can have this global event via technology? I'm missing you here from Brooklyn.
I miss you so much, but what's so amazing is that, you know, from the start, Girls Talk was birthed on this kind of like online ethos, and it was something that we were kind of gradually pulling away from in many regards, and our live events are something that's such a kind of a main part of Girls Talk. But what's so beautiful is that during this time of COVID, that we have been able to fall quite naturally back into that and get our community involved, and make sure that our community are safe, and feel like they're heard from all different parts of the world. So thank you for taking the time to be here, Kira.
No, I know, and I agree. So often, we do these amazing live events, but not everyone can join. And in this forum, we can have so many more of our community here with us. So it's really exciting. And that said, I mean, our panel guests are just insane and amazing. In fact, I don't know about you, Adwoa, I'm feeling like a little underqualified to be part of this panel and this group, but I'm
Definitely
very honored to be introducing them, right? I mean, so I want to start up with introducing Nafi Tiem. She is a record-breaking Olympic medal-winning heptathlete, and we are just so excited to have her here today. So welcome, Nafi.
Welcome. Girls Talk. Hi, Nafi.
Hey. Hi. How are you doing?
Oh, Nafi, thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot. So, obviously, Kira gave you a little introduction, but you could do it way better. So can you tell myself and Kira and our lovely community a little bit about yourself?
So, yeah, I'm Nafi. I'm 25 years old. I'm living and training in Belgium, and I'm a heptathlete. So it's 7 disciplines of athletics, and I'm Olympic and European champion.
Well, I think you should say that again so all our community can hear you, that you are the champion. So thank you so much for being here. Kira, back over to you.
Oh, Sure, sorry about that. Technical issues, but Nafi, we're just so excited and to have you. And we are also so lucky to have the amazing Lexi Brum back. For those of us who were riveted and on the edge of our seat with Netflix Cheer, she is joining us today as well. Lexi, welcome.
Hi, Lexi.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
It is so awesome. And can you tell, I mean, I think so many of us have seen the program, but can you tell some of the folks in our community who may not know you kind of what you do and where you are right now in quarantine and lockdown?
I'm currently in Houston, Texas. This is where I was born and raised. Just been quarantining away. What I do is I cheer for a college called Navarro, and I'm what you call a tumbler. And it's been a big part of my life. And next year I will be returning to Navarro for my 3rd year.
Congratulations, and so exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Lexi.
Thanks for having me.
We are also, finally, last but definitely not least, we are also joined by actor and performer Eric Underwood, who is an incredibly talented ballet dancer. So welcome, Eric, to the Girls Talk.
Girls Talk. Hi, Eric.
Hello, Eric. Hello. Eric.
Hi, ladies. I'm not sure if you can hear me because
There he is.
I can't hear me, but I'm going to carry on as if you can. So if you can, maybe give me a thumbs up, Adwa.
Lovely. And look at that warm, smiley face.
Yeah.
There he is.
No, you can't hear me.
We'll give you the
But that's
thumbs
okay because it's important to just carry on. I think we might be having
I hope everyone else can hear him
at the moment.
So,
but hopefully it'll be okay soon.
That I don't know. This is our first
we can carry on.
Girls Talk Live event like this, so it could be expected.
Technically.
But Eric, we're just really excited to have you. Should we move
So
forward?
now that we've met all, so now that we met all our panelists, I want to start this off by talking about the theme of coping with change and adaptation. And this is something that is very prevalent and more so important right now. So let's get all our panelists back. And I'd like to ask you all, how is everyone feeling? Is it a good day in isolation?
Girls Talk.
There they are.
There they are.
So ask
Lexi,
again.
I can ask you first. So the question is, how is everyone feeling, and is it a good day in isolation? And Lexi, I'll ask you that one first, and then we can go to Eric, and then Nafi, you can answer last.
Well, I'm feeling truly amazing to be a part of something so awesome. And the thought that y'all considered me makes me feel really good. So thank you so much. I look up to you guys, and it's a nice day today. It's sunny. I have a plan to go to the park later. I try to enjoy the nice days that come and just be in nature.
Thanks, Lexi. And what about you, Eric?
Thanks.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry, I think there was a technical difficulty before. But I'm here. I'm at home in London. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I'm quarantining here. During the quarantine experience, I have highs and lows. I have some moments that I'm brilliant and some moments that I'm really at the bottom and feeling quite defeated. So I'm trying to just embrace that uncertainty and know that I just have to live in the moment and just try and stay present and acknowledge when I'm feeling bad, when I'm feeling good, and not really place a lot of judgment on myself in those moments, because it's not easy.
100%, Eric. I think
Thank you.
Yeah.
this moment of stillness has got us all thinking about our own lives and has given me like large moments of self-reflection that can be kind of quite terrifying at times, but also enlightening as well. So I should be grateful for that. And what about you, Nafi?
Yeah.
I'm having a good day. I had a good session this morning, good training, and I'm just happy and excited to be with you all, guys.
Thanks, Nafi. We're so excited to have you, and I'm really excited to hear more about how you're kind of training and adjusting to this new normal and all of that. But, you know, obviously this is an incredibly difficult time. You know, we're talking about how is today going. We have all in different parts of the world been trying to manage through this for, you know, months now at a time, right? And I'm wondering for each of you, what has been the hardest thing to kind of get used to over the past couple months? I mean, it's a dramatic change in all of our lives. Lexi, maybe you can start. What's the hardest part to kind of get used to?
For me, it's definitely been not being able to tumble in a gym. All of the cheer gyms that I would usually go to are closed at the moment. And tumbling is something that really helps with my mental health and physical health as well. And it's been definitely a challenge not being able to get to do what I love. I mean, I have a backyard, but I also have dogs, and that means dog poo. So it's a little sketchy to tumble back there. So I'm just counting down the days till I can go to a gym again.
I hear you. And yes, the tumbling in the dog poo situation. I never thought about that. Please be careful and safe in that way too, Lexi. How about you,
I'll try.
How are you? Please, Eric. How are you? What's hardest been for you to get used to in this?
I think I'm just coming to the realization that I have to reevaluate everything. I mean, I initially think of success as achieving things, very tangible results. If I do a performance, you do a show. If I do, I don't know, a monologue, then you act it out in a play. But these are things that are very tangible. And now I'm sort of reconsidering what success is and having time to spend with my family and my friends and not having unwanted interactions and reaching out to people that I want to talk to. And I think I just have to totally reboot my idea of success. And success might not be just achieving things. Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
I love that. No, I love that. And Eric, I definitely want to talk about a little bit later in terms of that reflection and this being a period for all of us to reflect in a lot of ways. But Nafi, I know you referenced that you had a session earlier. I mean, I don't know how upended your life has been, but what's been kind of most difficult for you to get used to in this period?
I think for me is that all the plans of the year changed, because this year was very important with me, with the Olympic Games coming in August. And I'm 25, and I always said that the Olympics of 2020 will be the one I'll be in my best shape. And so I've been waiting and preparing for this goal for years, and I was super focused about it. And only a few months before it suddenly disappeared, and the whole season is canceled. So I would say that was the hardest, to just make that transition in my head too and accept that it was not going to happen.
Wow. I mean, Nafi, I think a lot of us, are thinking about plans being canceled, but for you and for so many other athletes, the Olympics being postponed, I can only imagine how tough that has been. So I hope you're hanging in there, and thank you for joining, and I want to hear kind of how you've been coping with that. Um,
And I think, it's something that was also, sorry, I can't see anything, so I'm going by just nothing. But
you look great, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. And I suppose, Kira, you kind of hit the nail on the head in regards to, plans being changed and the fact that we have all been kind of so accustomed to like routine. And I know that it has given me like massive amounts of anxiety not having this so-called routine. But I wanted to kind of ask you if you're still seeing patients at the moment, and what kind of are some of the reoccurring anxieties that they're kind of speaking to you about might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a great thing about my job is that we have been able to sort of seamlessly switch over to seeing my patients and being able to provide support via technology like this in the same way we're doing this global event today. But, I think certainly, I'm in New York. We're going into week 9 of this here, and I have certainly been hearing from folks that they're really hitting a wall now. I think initially there was a lot of anxiety about the virus itself. Now we've been in a prolonged period of kind of isolation, and I think in the beginning it was really easy to kind of stay connected and with our loved ones and really make that effort, and there's fatigue of that over time, right? And I think I worry about, and what I'm working with certainly my patients, is to really try and stay connected. That's so important that we not become isolated, and then also kind of keep up their routines as best they can. But I think we're just starting to see that there's going to be real long-term impact on our mental health from this for a lot of folks. So it's something we really need to focus on. So I'm glad we have this panel today to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you, Kira.
Sure. Sure. So Nafi, I wanted to come back to you. As you said, all of your plans went out the window in a minute. You had trained so hard, you were in the best shape of your life, and in a moment they were out. You went into Rio kind of as a relatively unknown, and you fought your way to the top. How are you coping now without sort of that team and that training ground? And I mean, I'm sure someone who's really disciplined and uses routine a lot. Like, how are you coping with all that now? What's your life like now?
Now I'm lucky because I still can train, because in Belgium we're not so many professional athletes, so government made sure we could still access some tracks, but I'm training alone, and it's definitely a bit sad and boring because I'm used to do all my trainings in a group, and I used to see them almost every day, so they're really close friends. And also for training, I think training with other people really has a positive impact because you lift each other up, you cheer on each other when it's hard. And now to be alone for everything, it's really different atmosphere. But I try to focus on the positive thing, that I can still train, and it could be worse.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that idea, obviously we're having to do everything in isolation, but going back to like kind of plans being changed. Eric, you're supposed to be in a play in Clybourne Park right now at the Park Theatre. How strange is it to have your plans for the next months completely changed?
It's funny you mentioned that, Adwa. Clybourne Park for me, it's very difficult. As I was saying before, for me, the idea of success was acquiring these very tangible achievements. So this was an opportunity for me to show myself in a different light as an actor, not a dancer. And I realized that in the experience of actually working on the play, we did loads of exercises about vulnerability. And having been a dancer, I often hid behind physicality in order to not be so present and vulnerable as Eric. And I feel like this sort of a COVID thing has made me be a lot more vulnerable just because there's nowhere to hide. I've had everything that I tried to run away from put to my face, and I've had to face it. So not doing the play is incredibly disheartening at the moment. But I think we'll revisit it in autumn, and I think I'll visit it a lot more vulnerable and a lot more capable of achieving the job. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I think, you know, although like so many major plans have been changed, this time has given us, I feel like with all the things, you know, I was really concentrating on my acting as well. And I think this time, in a sense, has definitely broken me down in ways that I think my acting teacher really wanted me to like get to, because I've been given this moment to concentrate on one thing and not have to be thinking about all the other things and I know you, Eric, do loads of other things, and we see each other out and about in real life. But I think, you know, one positive that we can get from this is that, I mean, there are many positives, but maybe when we have the chance to go back to these things that we've been waiting for, these accomplishments that we want to make, that we'll enter them with a new sense of being, a new strength, and a new kind of positivity, I suppose, and vulnerability.
Completely. It's funny too, because I also think you can lose yourself in achieving things and not be able to appreciate the moment. And also too, like just talking about vulnerability, speaking with acting coaches, I had no idea how to actually achieve that. But when you're sitting in the house with nothing to do but think, you get there. Well, I think.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Kira, do you want to...
Too much thinking. Too much thinking.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, no,
Kira,
actually,
do you want...
I think you had another question for Lexi.
Yeah, so...
You want me to ask? I'll jump in. Yeah, so...
Yeah, you ask it.
Okay. We're flexible here. We're good. So, Lexi, you know, watching kind of the resilience in every cheerleader in cheer was really inspirational and moving for so many of us. Like, you could train, and you guys train hard. And then one slip up and an injury, and it's kind of over in a moment that you have to fight back from that. So how do you have that kind of mental strength to go back after all of those near misses, or after you have a fall or an injury? Like, how do you do that?
A good example is last year I broke my finger, and I was stunting actually. I was like going out of my comfort zone, and I was supposed to be sitting out for a long time until my finger healed actually. And I didn't want to do that because I saw like how sitting out affected the other people that were injured, and you feel like you're like missing out. You get FOMO, and you just see your entire team like getting better and learning new things and just thriving, and you don't want to feel like you're being left behind in the dust. So I started teaching myself how to tumble with no hands and like finding ways around it, because I wouldn't want to just sit there and lose skills and then, you know, let my team suffer because of it. And I didn't want to let anyone down. So I found another way to stay active, and I started tumbling with no hands. And it was really just like, I even know someone that on my team that went full out at Daytona with a broken finger just because he didn't want to have someone else hop in last minute. So, I mean, we just don't want to let the team down. We don't want to let everyone down or ourselves down, because whenever you're sitting there, you feel like you're just losing worth, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you, Lexi. But you can definitely see that from the TV show, your like mass amounts of like resilience and perseverance. It's mental. It's was really inspiring to watch.
Thank you.
So moving on to our next theme of the panel, it is protecting our mental health. So as part of this event, we've put together some resources that might help you all watching at home with maintaining your mental health. In our Girls Talk Live coping kit, In it, you'll find a guided meditation, which can be really calming when your thoughts are racing, and a set of coping questions that can help you and your loved ones break out of the pattern of small talk that's so easy to slip into. It's really important now more than ever to take care of ourselves. And with the coping kit, I hope it can inspire you to do that. So I want to ask you the first question, Kira. What advice do you give your patients when it comes to self-care?
You know, the first piece of advice I guess I give around self-care is to prioritize it, to schedule it. It's really difficult to do that. I also think self-care has become kind of like this buzzword that maybe people don't know, what it is. Maybe we just think of like a warm bubble bath. That's self-care. Self-care is really something you need to sort of discover and explore for yourself. We do know some things that are helpful in a time like this where there can be a lot of anxiety. We do want to try and down-regulate our bodies. So that's why things like that include breathing exercises, yoga that includes breathing, even stretching your body. We get so tense towards the course of the day. All of those are self-care. But you really have to look to you, like what are the things that both help you relax, but also maybe bring you small moments of joy that take you out of this, that give you a break from all of this. And once you kind of figure out what those are for you, you got to schedule it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So you really have to prioritize it, because I promise investing in your self-care means you're going to be a better caregiver to others. If that's the position you're in, you're going to be a better friend. You're going to be better at your work or whatnot. So those are my thoughts on self-care for my patients and for you all listening.
Thank you, Kara.
So, one of the things, certainly, and we've already touched on this, so I'm trying to, but, I think that this has really taken a toll, right, on all of our mental health. And I'm not sure we realized when this started just how hard this might be. And there's a lot of people out there who are, isolating and quarantining in situations that can be quite lonely. There are folks that are in, toxic situations, even dangerous situations right now. And there's just all of the uncertainty of all of this, of when it's going to end around the world. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? And it's natural for us to be having a lot of these feelings. I wanted to ask each of you specifically, like, what are you doing to protect your mental well-being? I think we have to be more active right now to do that. So what are some things you've been doing, and what has sort of changed than what you usually do normally? Lexi, let's start with you.
Sorry, could you repeat the last part? It glitched a little bit.
No worries, no worries. I was just saying, kind of, what are the things you're doing now to kind of protect your mental health and your emotional well-being, and how has that changed from previously, what you had to do previously?
Well, one thing I always have to tell myself is that, I know that I have a purpose and I know that I have worth. And that just kind of, keeps my mind, I feel like I have a strong mindset. And I've always been able to, take good care of myself mentally. I've definitely seen, friends that struggle with this. So, I understand, how to, work with that based off of, what I've seen them do. But for the most part, I'm usually really good at telling myself that I do have a good purpose to serve on this earth. And I know that I'm a good person, and I know that I do have, mistakes that I make. We all do. And it's just making sure that you know that you aren't your mistakes and that you are better than, the bad decisions you make or anything like that. And also, it's also taking care of yourself physically. It takes so many it's so many different things that go into self-care.
Absolutely. And I think it's so different for everyone. But what I hear and what you're saying, Lexi, and what I emphasize, which I love, is both this positive self-talk. I mean, that's really important.
Oh,
Have
yes.
these
Like your
negative
mental
cycles,
coach.
you know? Yes, thank you. And you are doing a great job. So thanks for sharing that with us. But also, falling back on meaning and purpose. Those are really important for our mental health and well-being. So I love hearing that too. Eric, how about you? What's changed and how you protecting your mental health in this?
As I said before, I have days where I'm doing really well, and I have other days where I'm struggling. I've tried to remove expectations for what I can achieve in one day. So the idea is that some days, you know what, I just write it off. I'm depressed and nothing's going to happen. And other days, I can make massive moves and do great things. But I think just not having an idea of what I'm meant to do has been really helpful. And so on those days when I'm in a low, I just say, you know what, let's just do a gentle goal. Today, I am going to, I don't know, have a nice bath and make sure I moisturize my elbows well. Something really silly. But I think it's important to set goals that are really easily achievable for those days when you're not feeling your best. Because during this situation, I'm not always feeling great. But there are days when I feel great. I think I'm just trying to embrace that my emotional stability is just off, and I think that's okay.
I love that. I think that is absolutely okay. And what I hear in that is being kind to ourselves. You're right. Some days you're going to wake up, it's just going to be a bad day. And maybe that day just needs to end. You need to go to sleep and trust that you can wake up and it may be different tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I think we're all in that boat. Nafi, how about you? I'm glad you're getting out on the track, but it sounds a little bit more lonely. Like, how have you been kind of protecting your mental health and doing things like good for you?
Well, I would say one thing of the situation has given me is really a lot of time at home. So I just try to use that new free time to do stuff that, just for myself that doesn't have anything to do with sport. For the last few years, I really didn't allow myself to have so much non-productive moments, and it drove me to very stressing and difficult situation, especially when I was still at university. Because every time I had a free moment, I was like, okay, no, I have to make something productive of it, like work or learn something new, or I don't know, do push-ups or training. And I think all the time to just read, do skin or hair cares, just go for a walk, things that I was not doing for a long time because I thought it was useless when it's actually not. It's really something that I need, something good for me and my well-being. So I try to take that habit, I would say.
Yeah, 100%, Nuffy. I think when you have, I'm not obviously a champion like you are in regards to sports, but I think with our fast-paced lives that we all have in all different senses, it's definitely given me a moment to actually concentrate on other things that are also very much important in my life and not just concentrate on work, I suppose. So thank you for sharing that. Our next topic is about thriving in isolation. And I have to say, one of my favourite things about isolation is knowing that we're all in this together. So I know, Lex, you mentioned this idea of FOMO and what you've had, but I think it's, this is something that is universal. This is something that we're all going through. Seeing things like Captain Tom and the generosity of people coming together while staying 6 feet apart. That was something that was truly inspiring. What inspiring moments of adaptation have you noticed? Eric, you can answer this one first.
Sure. I think the people that you have in your life that you appreciate, which you might have taken for granted before, I definitely have. I've sort of taken time to reach out to them, to ask them how they are, how they're doing, and actually really care. And also just sitting down, I got to know my neighbors who I never talked to before, not because I didn't like them, but it was just kind of a thing. We need a fence, you're a neighbor. But now you realize that actually we're in this together. We can sit down, we can talk, we clap for the NHS together. I think it's been a real learning experience in bonding with people you wouldn't have bonded with otherwise, and also solidifying the relationships that you definitely do have in your life, mostly with friends and family. So I think it's been a blessing in disguise. It's given me so much perspective.
100%. I think, you know, we've talked about, and I've spoken about, you know, we see each other out and about at events, Eric, and I think it is definitely given me time to pause on, like, the relationships that I need to put energy into, that it wasn't like it takes two to kind of tango in regards to, like, there needs to be work coming from both ends, and that although my life is concentrated on, like, my work and everything like that, I have to put more time and effort into those relationships that I might not even know of right now, and the ones that I have and want to keep close. So I think that's an amazing point. What about you, Lexi? What's kind of inspired you during this time?
Well, honestly, this time is kind of exciting because, well, it's exciting to think about the time that's going to come after this, because all of this has been a good time for creativity, creating. A lot of ideas are being made, like planning and all of this. Like, people are going to come out of this stronger. Like, most people are going to have a game plan. And it's been a really good time to sit and reflect and just, you know, pull things together in your life. And I have been feeling more creative lately now that I have more time. And it's been really awesome to just think about, like, I feel like it's going to be a new wave after this of creations and innovations, like, broad across the horizon. I don't know. It's so broad. Like, so many different things can be, like, coming from this. Like, we don't know what people are working on or thinking of right now, but I feel like it's going to be something amazing.
Yeah, 100%. That's such a good point. And I think, you know, if I have to, you know, just looking at the fashion industry and how they're having to kind of work with us not being able to be together, and the ideas that people are coming up and the ways that people are thinking, and people are thinking far more outside of the box. And I think that's something really exciting. Maybe, like you said, Lexi, it's time for a new way of thinking, and maybe this will be a moment after this for other people to share who might have not had the chance, right, you know, before this started, to kind of show the world what they're kind of about and what they're able to give, I suppose. So that's kind of really exciting, I think. What about you, Nuffy? What's kind of inspiring you at the moment?
Well, I think it's a bit like you already said, the fact that this pandemic is now there. It's like a big challenge, and it's nice to see how everybody's reacting, trying to develop his own imagination and putting new things, new way to work, new way to, you know, do the sport, to train, and everybody's sharing that on the social medias, and you can just watch what everybody's doing, learn for yourself, trying to contribute to, do your own things. So yeah, I think it definitely opened doors to a lot of new way to do everything we used to do, but just differently. I don't know if that's clear, like that means something.
Yeah, no, 100%. I suppose, you know, talking about creativity, is there, and like doing things differently, Eric, have you learned anything new in isolation?
I have. I actually learned how to do this yoga squat I've always wanted to do, and I'm working on a handstand. So when I say gentle goals, that's what I mean, like things that almost don't count, but it's just fun. It occupies my time, and yeah, it's just a nice, lighthearted thing, something I would have never done before because I was focusing on achieving something that did count. So I'm just sort of learning myself.
Yeah, no, I think they have to definitely be gentle goals. I mean, I haven't even got close to a handstand or a yoga pose, but I've definitely been like I've definitely been like painting by numbers, if that counts as like a gentle goal.
Yeah.
What about you, Kira? Have you learned anything new?
I mean, I don't know if I think it's mostly learning new things about myself internally, but
That's what I think.
I'm hearing hugely, yeah, right? I mean, things I want to know, things I don't want to know. But what I just love about this and what we've talked about certainly, and you can go to our Girls Talk for sort of the coping tips, but I love this idea of setting kind of achievable, moderate goals, and then really kind of the positive talk around that, like that's enough right now. You know, these small things are enough, and that we don't have to use this time in isolation quarantine to learn a new skill or to change our lives dramatically. You know, we are gonna all be changed by this, right? And so it's a time to reflect on that too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what is probably taking up most of my energy, and why I haven't got to the headstands is that I have been faced with a lot of my own kind of issues that I need to probably sort out. So I'm doing a lot of like
yes,
gentle
we've been on the phone, Angela, you and me.
Self.
I know.
What about you, Nafi?
Sometimes
have
the
you
goal
learned
of just
anything
taking
new?
a shower is.
Yeah, exactly. Nafi, have you learned anything new?
Yeah, I'm trying to improve like my cooking skills because I was never a very good cook, and
Yeah.
I always thought like, okay, you know, I'm not good, so I'm not even gonna try. But now that I have so much time, I've been trying some recipe, and actually I'm not so bad, so I might carry on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably follow that one as well. Another thing I have not checked off my list, my very long accomplishment list, I have not learned how to cook, but I am trying. So I should like take a leaf out of your book, Nafi, and start trying out some recipes. Lexi, what about you? Have you learned anything new in isolation?
I have been getting better at doing makeup. I would have a full face right now if it wasn't so early in Texas. But I have been working on my art skills too. I've been working on my digital art skills, and just drawing and painting. It's one of my passions is to do art.
Yeah. If I should probably, again, I haven't learned how to do makeup, but you look beautiful, so you definitely don't need a full face of makeup. You look
I was
amazing.
about to say, if that's not, I know. Please,
Yeah,
please come to New
you
York
look
and do
absolutely-
mine. I mean,
Girl, I
Yeah.
got you.
So, our next topic is the future. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Kira, to ask our lovely panel the first question.
sure. I mean, there's a lot unknown about the future, right? And I think that's been really hard for all of us to kind of cope with. We've been spending a lot of time today talking about how you're coping currently. But one of the things that I think is actually really a good exercise for everyone to practice is to kind of also, although we're kind of doing everything we can to stay well right now, but also think about the future. I mean, this will end eventually, right? So I wanted to kind of, you know, ask each of you, you know, what's the first thing you want to do when this ends? Like, what's the first thing you're going to go out and do when this ends? And Nafi, why don't we start with you? What do you want to do first thing when this is over?
Definitely I will go and spend some time with my family and also my friends after. But yeah, I really miss my family. It's been a really long time seeing them. And my brother and his fiance are waiting for a little baby. Should be there very soon. So yeah, I just can't wait to be with all my family and spend time like we used to do.
So true, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And congratulations, you're going to be an aunt. And so I hope you soon get to wrap up that little person in a big hug. I certainly have a long list of people I want to, you know, give a big hug to when this is over. Eric, how about you? What's the first thing you want to do?
I can be a little bit of a control freak, and so having this time being forced to isolate, but for a very good purpose, I think oddly enough, I want to have some time where I decide to isolate and find myself on a beach, just walking, thinking about the time we've had, and making decisions about how I want to move in the future. I don't want to just jump back into things and fall back into a routine of doing things I had done before, because I don't want to lose the growth that I've had in this experience. So I don't want to just jump back out. I want to really think about it, reflect on how I want to move, and then make decisions.
I love that, Eric, and I love that. And we didn't spend too much time today talking about that, but it's so important to acknowledge the ways in which we're changed and the ways in which we've grown from this, and also the ways in which it's maybe changed what we want to do in the future, who we want to spend it with, you know, trips we want to take, all of that. Adjoa, how about you? What's the first thing you want to do when this is over?
I think like Eric really like hit the nail on the head. I think I have really like had the time to think about what's important in my life, and definitely Girls Talk is that, but also my own like well-being and my own like mental health, and I think like Eric, I don't want to like rush straight back into life. I want to kind of make sure that I'm not going back into like habits that I had before isolation started, and I'm looking forward to, you know, all the things that I've learned during this time. I'm looking forward to like really properly living them. And I think I've always like kind of lived my life like to the fullest, but I'm very, very excited to like kind of walk headstrong and vulnerable into certain situations and really make the most of them and make the most of like relationships in my life and everything like that.
Yeah. So well said, Adjoa. I mean, I too, there's so many things we took for granted, I think, about our daily lives that we had access to that we don't now. So reinvesting in those is going to be great. Lexi, how about you? What's the first thing you want to do when this ends?
I had a lot of plans to go out and travel. I was gonna go to Europe. I've never been outside of the U.S. before, and I had a lot of plans to go out and explore and experience. And when this happened, all of that kind of got canceled or postponed, because I'm definitely still trying to go out and experience and learn and just see new things that I've never seen before. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to get out of this little bubble that I feel like I've been in my whole life, pretty much. There's so many other things out there that I want to like experience besides just Texas.
I love that, Lexi. And on that note, will you please come visit us for when we have another in-person Girls Talk event somewhere in the world? Will you
I'm
come
there.
travel and come see us there, I hope. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, you got to come to London. You got to come to London.
Yes,
for
I
the
was
next
actually
one.
planning
for the
on
real
coming to
in-person
London.
one. Yeah, you've got to come to London. So, for our next question, as restrictions start to lift and we look forward to a new post-COVID era, how do you hope the world changes after all of this? What do you hope doesn't return when this is over? What do you want to see more of? So I'll send that first question over to you, Eric.
Okay. I think when it comes to what I would not like to see, I think I don't want to have interactions that I would have had before because they were a formality or something I should have done, but not necessarily something I wanted to do. And having this time not having to do that has made me realize how much I just don't enjoy it, and I'd rather do the things I like doing. And I think when it comes to the things I want to see happen, when it comes to the restrictions being lifted, I think spending so much time apart from people has given me so much appreciation for the time when I get the opportunity to spend time together with people. So I'll cherish the time that I spend with people a lot more. And it won't just feel like I see you on Friday, I see you on Wednesday, and that's a normality. It has to be something where we really cherish the time. I mean, to be honest with you, I left my mother when I was 13 to go to ballet school and to strive and chase this career. And I've been chasing that career my entire life. And during this time, I haven't been able to see my mother back in America. I can't fly there. And then afterwards, I'm nervous to go and visit her because I'm afraid I'll bring her something like COVID. So I think I really appreciate those relationships, and I want to visit family, and I just need to reevaluate what's important to me. Work isn't nearly as important as family and friends, and I had that completely misconstrued. Sorry.
Yeah. No. You really, you're saying so many things, Eric, that have really, truly resonated with me. And this is why, like, you know, conversations like this are so important. But it is that, isn't it? It's like, you know, I think with both of our jobs, all of our jobs actually, we're entertaining, we're giving a lot of energy to other people, and that is needed, but sometimes it isn't needed. And when it isn't needed, it takes away energy that should be given to people that really do need the energy. And I think yeah, that's something that I'm definitely going to like take forward once this is all done. I want to be, you know, even more protective of my time and energy, because it definitely makes, in conclusion, it makes the other relationships in my life way better. What about you, Lexi? What would you rather not see return once this is all over? What do you want to see more of?
My answer is pretty simple. One thing that we can do without is materialism, just seeing less materialism altogether and seeing more real connecting between the people in your life that like truly matter to you.
Yeah, no, simple and a perfect answer. I think that is it, isn't it? We don't really need that much in our lives. But we need to be grateful for what we do have as well. What about you, Nafi?
Well, what I hope will change of the world, I would say what I like to see was all the common effort from the population. I mean, I've seen it in Belgium, but I guess it has been the same in a lot of countries. And a lot of solidarity that came up, a lot of charity and organization to help other people. And I hope, you know, when all this is over, not everybody's gonna just go back to his own thing and, you know, forget about each other. So I hope that solidarity will stick up. I would say.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for answering so eloquently and like sharing so much of your wisdom at a time when we really need to be like hearing it from other people. I think we've all been left to our own devices and our own heads, and we can only, sometimes it feels like I'm using my own like kind of head as a sounding board, but it's so nice to put this out into the open and hear from you like what you're all going through. So as always, we get our community involved in our events. Oh, Kira, are you speaking? Or am I speaking?
No, don't worry about it. More important, we go into the community questions, which is next. So
Okay. I know, sorry, it's another technical glitch. Anyway, it doesn't matter. As always, we get our lovely community involved, and they are what Girls Talk is all about. So we have asked them what they would like to hear from you. And my first question is to Kira, and it is, as a nurse midwife, I'm currently working on the front lines of the NHS battling through this current pandemic. We have had a rise in the number of patients coming to us in need of urgent psychiatric emotional care, mainly due to the self-isolate period, which has been a adverse effect and direct impact on their well-being. Can you recommend a few activities, actions to undertake daily for those folks, and any guidance to keep them from feeling less vulnerable and more safe? That's from Bunch of Scrawlers.
Well, first of all, and I probably am saying this for everybody on this panel and everybody in the UK and in the US, thank you for your work, right? Thank you, frontline health workers. That is a group that, from a mental health standpoint, we all need to be really taken care of, and we need to be thinking about them moving forward. It's really important, when we think about first responders for emergency events, usually they are police, fire, military, people who are trained to put their lives at risk to help others, right? And now we have these amazing frontline workers who are going in every day. They're putting their lives potentially at risk in terms of being in the line of fire for this virus in order to care for others. And they are holding people's hands at the end of life. They are going through so much. So thank you for that. And everybody listening, let's make sure that all of our, governments, local, federal, whatever it may be, make sure that whatever the response to COVID-19 includes mental health support for frontline health workers. But
well, I feel like we can go back to that answer. Okay. We can go back to that, Kira, because we've got a little bit of a freeze. Sorry about that, everyone. So the next question is from Ramon to Lexi, and is, how can I stop being afraid of other people judging me?
How can she stop being afraid of what?
How can I stop being afraid of other people judging me?
Of other people judging me. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you just have to tell yourself that not everyone is going to agree with the way that you live your life, or the things that you like to do, or the people you like to hang out with, this music you listen to. There's always going to be people that have an opinion, and the people that are like sitting there spreading negativity, like 99% out of 100, those people are unhappy with themselves. And they just have to go around and spread negativity because that's how they feel inside. And you just have to keep that in mind and know that those people are probably hurting too. And you can't take it too personally. Just do what makes you happy, because it'll make you happy. Don't try to hide who you are. Don't tone down your light to make someone happier, especially if that person is just going around spreading negativity, because then you'll probably be fueling their fire for more negativity. Don't give them what they want. Keep shining your light and do you, and do what makes you happy, as long as it's not hurting others.
Yeah. Thank you, Lexi. And thank you, Ramon, for that brilliant question. Kira, I think that was a very important answer you were just about to give. So I'm going to go over back to you so you can finish your answer to bunch of scrawlers.
I appreciate everyone sticking with us, and I know there's been a delay and we've had freezes, and thank you for that. But I'm not sure how much you caught of it, but I will just start with the end portion, I guess, which is, we're so grateful for frontline health workers. We really need to be supporting them from a mental health standpoint moving forward, and we all need to be demanding that the government does that as well. But in terms of the question specifically, how you can support folks coming in, really the number one thing I would say is listen non-judgmentally, validate that this is very, very normal to be struggling right now, and really encourage them to lean on whatever supports there are in their community. And those may not be what you think. Certainly seeing a mental health professional is wonderful, but there may be someone in their life they can talk to. There may be a pastor or someone in their community. But having them think about who is someone they can connect and lean on and support, because what I worry most about is folks becoming isolated with these feelings. And on top of having to be physically isolated, it's so much more likely to become emotionally isolated, which is something that naturally happens when we're struggling. So that would be, I guess, my advice to the folks you're seeing coming in who are in distress. If that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Kira. And our last question or do you want to ask the last question, Kira?
Sure.
You asked the last question.
Okay, great. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so this one comes from Yasmin. She says, in a time where the days seem to blend into one long day, which can leave me feeling exhausted and unmotivated, how can you regain a sense of control? Nafi, why don't we start with you? What do you think?
Actually, it really talking to me because I had that problem, that you have so much time that it's really hard to start doing something. It's actually weird, but so what I did is I just printed like a week schedule, and I was thinking about all the things I could do and just mark it down, make some, hours for everything. And it really helped me to, just start doing something and not just letting myself go and wait for something to happen when obviously nothing going to happen if I'm not, standing up and start doing something. So it helped me to do a schedule. I would advise that.
Great. Thank you, Nafi. Eric, how about you? How are you when everything feels so out of control, how are you kind of regaining a sense of control?
So in this moment, I'm working on not gaining self-control. I'm working on accepting the moment that I'm in the present. So if the days feel like they're running together and it's Wednesday or Friday and I don't really know, I think it's okay. We're in a really crazy situation and I don't want to try and control it because that just gives me a lot of pressure on myself. So I'm trying to relinquish control and just say, this is where I'm at. It's okay.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think
From
there's the real balance between accepting what we can control and what we can't, and being kind. And Lexi, how about you? How have you kind of regained sense of control when these days kind of just bleed into each other?
Well, kind of going off of what Eric said, you can't just sit there and dwell on the things that you can't control. And it's just going to eat up your mental health. You just got to think about what you do have control of. And then you think about what you can do about attacking those things. And just, that's what's been keeping me motivated, is just accepting what's happened, because no one can change it. We're all in it together too. So at least you're not like completely alone in this isolation. And just, think about all of the things that like you want to do in the future, all the things that you can, control, and just go after those things.
Yeah. Thank you, Lexi. Well, thank you to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Kira, my lovely, amazing Kira, for being here and for helping me host this beautiful panel. Thank you, Nafi and Eric and Lexi, for taking the time. Although we have lots and lots of time, but thank you for taking the time to be here for our first ever Girls Talk Together live event. It really means absolutely everything. And thank you, most importantly, to our wonderful community who none of this would be possible without. So thank you for continuously being part of everything we do and being for just making it all possible. It really, none of this would be possible without you. And thank you, Nike, for helping us put this all on. So thank yous all round. Please look after yourself, be kind to yourselves, keep going with those headstands and the running and the tumbling and the cooking and anything that makes you happy.